Hello everyone, how are you doing? This is Amanda. Today is the 27th of April and it's probably important that you take a note of that date because if you're watching this in a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months, as it stands today, there is still a couple of weeks to play out with the ongoing trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Now, initially, I wasn't particularly interested in this. I wasn't going to particularly even comment on it, even though I do love Johnny Depp as an actor and some of his films are amongst my favourites. I just didn't really want to get into it. But this week, I really got drawn into watching some of the testimony that he has given. And I realised actually how important it is in terms of some of the subjects that are being brought up for us to look at as a collective, which mirror a lot of other relationships, maybe not quite as toxic and dysfunctional and broken down as theirs, but at some level of being, many people are starting to recognise aspects of the toxicity that either they've had in previous relationships or patterns that they've been attracted to or in existing relationships. Because, as I say, I'm recording this on the back of the week where Johnny in particular has been talking, I've noticed a large number of men in the comments on the live feeds who are basically saying things along the lines of, yeah, I recognise that pattern. I was with a woman like that, or I've known a woman like that. And it works both ways, of course. Other people saying, well, I've known somebody maybe like Johnny, and I've been in a relationship with somebody who's an addict, for example. We're going to try and keep this as what I call violet pill as possible. And what I mean by that is seeing them both as flawed human beings, as we all are. Equally, two people that have been drawn together for a purpose, for themselves, but because it's now escalated into the collective consciousness, because thousands of people are watching this and hooked on this, it's actually rippling out and has an opportunity to be a big healing moment for many people. In addition to what I want to talk about today, linked into cycles of abuse and how we can attract partners that either mirror ourselves or that reflect an unhealed part of ourself. And that can often be a childhood that somehow was tainted or had pain associated with it. So we can attract in fact, Johnny Depp said this week when he was giving testimony based on the abuse that he suffered at the hands of his mother, that he didn't realise until he was in too deep that actually he'd married his mother with regard to Amber Heard. It was the same pattern playing out again. And if you look at your own relationships, we can sometimes see this. Of course, it can also be positive, but this has not been positive and is very toxic. Also, what this case does is it brings up the cancel culture energy that is rampant in our society at the moment. Johnny Depp, when asked what he had lost from losing a defamation case that he bought against the Sun newspaper, which is an absolute rag actually in the UK, in I think it was 2017, 2018, he lost that defamation trial and then went on to lose a number of roles, including, I think, the role in Pirates of the Caribbean, which he'd made his own. And he was asked what did he lose, and he said everything. So he was cancelled to a large degree, although he seems to be a figure that many people still love and have a place for. I'd like to talk about him with regard to the good stuff and the bad stuff. One thing I've noticed about him is that he's very able to own his shadow, let's put it that way. So he's able to talk about the addictions that he's had for a number of years. He talks about taking drugs from, I think, the age of 15, and doing so to try and blot out the pain. He's just very honest, basically, about that. He doesn't try and hide that he's done it, that he does that. He understands why he does that. I don't know whether he's ever had counselling. I would imagine he has, because he seems to be quite self-aware, although unable to break maybe that pattern of addiction. And then we have Amber Heard, who we will also look at in terms of who she is. I think what would be interesting is just to start off, I'm going to pull some cards, and I'm also going to say what I've been observing and intuitively feeling. Those of you that don't know who I am an intuitive, I'm a medium. I don't like the word psychic because I think it has all sorts of connotations with it. I prefer the word intuitive. But I'm a channel, and I like to read the barometer of where the collective is. And right now, this case is big. So we're going to look at it. So yeah, cancel culture, cycles of abuse, patterns that can't be narcissism as a template. And my feeling is that I personally feel that Amber displays narcissistic tendencies. And I think you're going to start to see a number of high-profile relationships where that is played out, and it becomes very clear. And it's as though narcissism as an energy is being brought up for us to look at in terms of what that is. So again, we can understand it when we maybe come across it in our own relationships. Maybe you've been in a relationship with a narcissist and you understand what that feels like. Another aspect of this trial that is huge links into the fact that women can be abusers. Now, she is on record already in this trial that is ongoing, admitting on tape that she's hit him. In fact, she says something along the lines of they're having some sort of argument, and she's shouting, "I didn't punch you, I was hitting you." So it's all there in gory, black and white. There's no escaping from her voice that's owned that she does that. The other thing that comes through very strongly so far is the fact that the degree of psychological manipulation as well. In most of the recordings that have been played so far, there seems to be a pattern where he's trying to get away from her, or trying to dampen it down, or he's just zoned out, whether it's on drink or on drugs, but basically not trying to provoke the argument. He's trying to walk away from it. And it's this energy of just chasing after him to get the reaction that she seeks. I mean, that's a form of abuse as well. It's like psychological abuse. There's one particular, I haven't listened to all the recordings, but there's one of them that you might have heard where the couch one, where it sounds like he is completely just zonked out on the couch, which I assume is our British word for sofa. And she's just shouting couch at him, couch, couch, couch. It's just very she's trying to provoke. She's trying to get him riled. And it doesn't appear that he does fight back physically with her. So certainly neither of them are saints. The language is vulgar and vile a lot of the time. Johnny Depp has said he's ashamed of some of the text messages that he sent to a friend where he was aggressive in his language towards her. But I have to be honest, let's put it this way. When you look at this as a collective mirror and you think back to your own relationship history, many of us will have said things in the heat of an argument that actually wasn't really the truest expression of who we are as a person. And things get said and get blown out of proportion as well. So I'm not standing up for him or trying to justify anything he's said or done. I'm just saying that on balance, from what I've seen so far, she's going to have an uphill battle to win this case. But as I say, there's 2 weeks more of the trial to go. I will come back to some of the stuff as well that maybe I should say it here actually whilst I'm talking about her. Just some of the stuff so far that's been made public. I was watching yesterday, they had a chief witness on, a psychologist, who was saying that she had assessed her and had concluded that she has something called histrionic and borderline personality disorder, and had grossly overplayed post-traumatic stress disorder. The one thing I will say as well is that I'd noticed online last night a lot of people were saying don't clump people who might have, for example, I was particularly seeing people with borderline personality disorder saying don't assume that just because we have that we basically behave like this. And I think that's very important because, again, this case is actually bringing to light some of these forms of mental unwellness, and it's like we're being shown a very extreme example of what can play out. But that doesn't mean that if you have any of these conditions that you have to necessarily behave like this, as exaggerated and as inflamed as she did. So yes, it's clear that she follows him, she instigates the arguments. There's a very poignant moment where he talks about the fact that when he met her, they had a beautiful time together. They were, head over heels in love. He adored her. He thought she, sun shone out her backside. That's my words, not his. That feeling you get when you meet somebody. And then, I don't know what time frame it was, but suddenly the mask started to slip. And there was an incident whereby he tried to take his own boots off. He came down, sat on his couch to take his boots off after a day at work or something. And that's something that she had been doing for him. And she got really irate that the boots had been taken off. And that was like one of the moments where he suddenly realised, actually, this is really weird behaviour. What does it matter to you if I want to take my own shoes off? Because at the heart of a lot of her behaviour seems to be the energy of control. So let's write that word down as well, control. How many of us sometimes can be controlling in our relationships? Again, not necessarily to that degree, but to some degree, which actually creates a problem for our partner and also for ourselves, because somebody that's displaying dysfunctional behaviour isn't actually happy within themselves. Effectively, they're both two damaged people that have come together and created a very toxic environment and toxic relationship. I also watched the butler's testimony yesterday or a few days ago, who was there in Australia, where there was an incident where his finger got, part of it got taken off in a fight, he says, by her. She's said to have defecated on the bed, to have cheated on him. The police officer that turned up at another apartment where she had said she had been beaten saw no sign of any bruises. The makeup that she says she used to cover up the bruises, she gives the name of a compact powder that was not on sale at the time that she says she used it. It's not looking particularly good for her, to be honest. And but as I say, there's still 2 weeks of the trial to go, and she's going to have her day standing up and saying her side of it. He did lose a defamation lawsuit against the Sun, as I say, in 2018. And now he's basically suing for defamation of character because of an article that Amber Heard wrote about him. Well, she didn't mention his name, but it was along the lines of her saying she was a domestic violence victim. It's very clear that what Johnny is trying to do is stand up and say, I may be a completely and utterly flawed human being and also an addict, past, present or future. I don't know if he still is, but I'm not a physical abuser. And that's what his mother was. And so for me, I find it fascinating that he's trying to, I don't know whether he's consciously realising he's doing this, But what he's actually trying to do is cut and clear a path so that this dysfunction that he saw played out in his childhood doesn't follow through to his children. His children don't see him in that way because he says he wasn't like that. She says he was. So, you know, a jury will decide. It feels as though it's very cathartic for him, and my gut feel is that he's going to come out of it better than she does, and that's not in terms of what the legal result is, more that I see a man who is owning his stuff and who is, it's just like it's all out on the table in the most ugly, gory detail you can imagine. But once it's all out in the table, you see, any healer will tell you this, once you've acknowledged who you are, how you behave, what you attract in as well, you have to take responsibility for what you attract in as a partner and what you then create, for good or bad. But once you can own that, then you can start to talk about that. It's part of the pathway towards big healing. Denying it and denying your character never gets you anywhere. So I think at this point, I'm looking down because I've got other things that I wanted to mention. But let's just pull a couple of cards on both of them. Okay, so I think I'd just like to see, I've got a few decks here. I'd like to see a card for Amber Heard's energy. And I'm using the Starman Tarot. We have the Star. I'm hearing she's wishing upon a star. Actually, the star that she was wishing on was Johnny, to be her entry point into her dream world. I don't know whether she was an actress before she met him, but it's as though he gave her the key to a glittering world that was very attractive to her. This is also a card, though, of healing, the Star card. So it implies that I'm hearing it's very messy, but there's a degree of healing that's going on behind the scenes that you probably can't see with her. And that's quite intriguing. Now, she also feels, this particular deck that I'm using is different, and it feels as though she feels that she has all of the power, okay? It also feels as though that depicts that she felt that she had the power and the control in the relationship. And I suspect that's probably where all of the arguments and fighting came from. It's like a power struggle. So we have the card of the Star card for her, a very positive card. On the bottom of the pack, we've got the Two of Swords though, which is a card of choice. We've also got the Hanged Man. I'm going to take that as well. In fact, I'm going to pull 4 cards for both of them. So she's got the Star card, she's got the Two of Swords, and she's got the Hanged Man. The Two of Swords is a crossroads. She's at a crossroads in her life. This trial is a big crossroads. It could go either way, but she's being asked to, whether she's doing it or not, I don't know, but she's being asked to look at herself in a different way. The Hanged Man is where you are forced to see through different eyes, to see a different perspective, to maybe see Johnny in a different way. And in fact, I'm hearing that she's surprised at the strength that he's got to still be pursuing this. I feel as though she wrote the article that started this whole defamation trial, and didn't really think that he would maybe come back at her in the way that he has, in terms of, I'm not having you say that about me. I am not that. I am not an abuser of women, a physical abuser of women. So she's being forced to, she's in a state of suspension here. This is also the trial, of course, because it's like she's split in two. She's literally split in two here. This card shows somebody split in two. And I do wonder whether this also links into the personality disorders that she's been diagnosed with, in terms of there being 2 different sides to her persona. The Amber that you see, who might be quite smiley, and the other Amber maybe behind closed doors. But she's being forced to look at those two sides of her being. And she has her guides around her. Every person on this planet has guides. I feel very strongly her mother around her, and I don't know whether her mother is alive or dead. I'm feeling that she's passed, because, put it this way, I was asking who their spirit guides were, or who's around them as a spirit guides, and I heard the mother. And usually a spirit guide would be somebody obviously who's not actually physically here on the earth. So it feels as though her mother is around her. She's also got a wolf there, but I'm hearing there's two messages with this card. A wolf generally is a protection symbol, okay? So a protective wolf behind her. But I'm also hearing here a wolf in sheep's clothing. So it's like she's not who she appears to be. She's certainly not who Johnny thought she was when he married her. And what he found was, after a while in the marriage, that there were these two sides of her personality, these two sides of Amber, one who was very, very nice and one who was less so. And that's putting it mildly. That's what I can tell from those cards. Let's just pull one more. No, actually, I want to pull from another deck. Let me just do Johnny first, and then I'll explain what I'm going to do. So let's have 3 cards for Johnny's energy, please. Show me Johnny Depp's energy, please. It's funny, as I'm shuffling, I'm hearing he actually likes to keep things very close to his chest. So it's very ironic that here he is in the middle of a court case, which is being broadcast around the whole world. And yeah, you see 5 of Wands on the bottom of the deck. He's in a battle. Let's just have that card for him. Normally, he wouldn't want people to see much at all. I actually feel there's quite a private side to him. He is quite private in many ways. I mean, he's always been an enigma. And so to have it all laid out in such graphic detail is troublesome to him. It's not what he likes. We've got the Queen of Wands that just flew out as I was trying to shuffle, so I'll take that one even though I wasn't actually concentrating. The Queen of Wands would be Amber. And you see, it's interesting, look at that. The Queen of Wands here has a sunflower over the top of her head, and the sunflower is the biggest, tallest flower in the garden. And I'm hearing straight away that there's a part of Johnny, and I'm almost a little bit surprised to see this, that's still a little bit, when I say frightened of her, no, I'm just going to say that, frightened of her. But that could also just be that he's aware that if he loses this case, it is sort of in his mind, it's game over. That, you know, she has the power to be the tallest plant in the garden, you know, the one that has all the sun around her. So he's quite threatened by the Queen of Wands. I expect, again, at some level of being, I mean, there's a very fine line between love and hate. And these two right now hate each other with a passion, but there's a very thin line between love and hate. So actually there's also this aspect here with the Queen of Wands, and he wouldn't ever admit this to himself, but at some level there's still a degree of attraction there. And that may very well be just a sexual attraction, you know? I mean, it would never ever come back. He doesn't want her back. But remember, we're all multi-dimensional beings, and as I say, it's just a very fine line between really hating somebody and actually really wanting to be with them. So, but he would never go back. Okay, so Queen of Wands, he's fighting the Queen of Wands. Is the message of that card? Sorry, these cards I just want to shuffle them properly. The other thing that's coming through here is, look at this. The more I look at this, the more that I'm getting, because he's fighting the Queen of Wands, but it's like he doesn't know which part of the Queen of Wands he's fighting, because she's got these different aspects of her personality. So it's like Amber on a good day, Amber on a bad day. This part of Amber, you know, it's like this is how he felt in the marriage. It was literally like, what was she going to be like on any one particular day? Was she going to wake up in a good mood? Was she going to be in a bad mood? What was she going to be like when she opened the door to come back into the house? And it could change like that, I'm hearing. And it feels as though there are multiple personalities here, split personalities. So, I mean, I'm no psychologist, but that's just what I'm feeling from these cards. So, yeah, okay. But that's all about her. Let's see him. Let's see his energy. I mean, that could apply to him as well. Sorry, there's 2 cards just flown out. I'll read those in a minute. Because he also feels as though he's got these split aspects. That's through drink and drugs. So, you know, and anybody who knows anything about the spiritual world knows that if you drink to excess or you take drugs to excess, you can create tags and snares in your aura, which allow in other attachment energies, which are not beneficial. So it's like these almost like when I say demon energies, it's more, they're darker shadow energies attracted to the energy of drugs and alcohol. And it's almost like one of these could be drugs, one of these could be alcohol, one of these could be, you know, whatever his addictions are, whatever his pull is towards, it's as though he's fighting them off the whole time. I don't know whether he's a reformed or recovering alcoholic or drug addict, whether he's doing something like the AA program, but, you know, he needs to be doing something like that, because he will always have these other energies. You know, addiction is a shadow energy, it's a darker energy, which are trying to get at him, and he's fending it off the whole time. Right, what came out for him, the 2 cards that flipped out, are the King of Swords and the 8 of Swords. Glad I used this deck, it's very, very powerful. So the King of Swords, this is him in quite a very analytical mode. The King of Swords can be quite brutal in terms of cutting away that which is no longer required in his life. So he wants to cut this Queen of Wands down, you know, to size. You know, it's like you've got too big for your boots. Some of the world think that, you know, I'm the abuser now. I am not. I'm going to stand up for myself, even though I've got all of these demons around me linked into attachment energies. That doesn't mean he's the devil, by the way. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that they're darker energies, which is alcohol and drugs. But I'm going to make sure that the world sees who I really am. And I mean, he does look also, he looks very sharp. He's very sharply dressed. It's very weird that he dresses one way on a particular day, and then the next day, have you noticed, she comes into court wearing the same thing that he did the previous day. So she's mimicking, she is mimicking his style. He comes in a grey suit and a black tie with a little motif on. The next day she's doing the same thing. One day he's got his hair in a ponytail, the next day she's got hers in a ponytail. It's very, very noticeable that she's copying his dress sense. And again, you see, that's psychological manipulation. That's almost like I'm still actually trying to be the abuser here, you know? And it's like she's assuming that nobody sees it, but people do. So King of Swords, he wants to bring her down to size, analytical, sharp mind. I mean, that's one thing I noticed about him. As I say, I can't speak for her because I haven't heard her testimony yet, but he's quite a sharp cookie. I don't know what his IQ level is, but in terms of just, you know, like street IQ, I want to say, you know, it's like he's sharp. He's also very witty. It's like he's trying to get one over on the prosecution lawyers. It's been quite funny to watch. He calls them out, you know, and he's sort of like seeing whether they're going to what do they keep shouting the whole time? They keep trying to strike things off the record as hearsay. So he's cottoning on to the fact, okay, if I say it that way, it's going to be hearsay, but if I say it another way, it's going to get through. That's King of Swords type energy. He's also got the 8 of Swords. This is literally where he's at. This is like, you have put me into the sarcophagus and I am bound and cannot get out. But the thing with the 8 of Swords typically is the fact that all you've got to do is you've just got to burst through the little gap, or in this case, the things that bind. what's coming to me is I feel Johnny actually had, many of us have had, but I'm picking up an Egyptian past life with him. And there was an initiation that used to take place in ancient Egypt, which wasn't particularly nice, linked into, I don't know what the initiation was really for, I suppose to go up the ranks in terms of your spiritual development, pass through to the other side, have immortal life. It would have been something like that. But basically they used to put you in a sarcophagus, those that went through this sacred initiation, and they would close the lid. So you'd be in that, in the dark, with the lid on. And the test basically was how long you could survive in there, because you never knew whether somebody was actually going to come and lift the lid and basically free you. So it was a real experience of not just dark night of the soul, but at an even deeper level than that. It's like, do I have the resources to stay alive? Do I believe that somebody will come and lift the lid so I can breathe again? And that's very much what he's going through. And if it's not this trial that does it, at some point in the future, I feel he's always going to have the resourcefulness to, he'll keep on going until he's proven and cleared his name, because that's what this is about for him. It's about clearing his name. And so the lid of the sarcophagus relates to the weight of the world thinking that I'm an abuser, where I actually know that I'm not. And when that day comes where that is revealed, that's the day that he moves out of that. But it's really interesting because he can only do so by using his rational, analytical mind. His heart has got him into trouble, is what I'm hearing. So he was very heart-led when he met her. Of course he was, because he loved her. But, it's more than that. It's like heart over mind. I think that there's almost a part of him whereby he hasn't been completely honest here in terms of, I think he had warning signs with regard to her way before he's admitting that he did. So the boots incident, in terms of, hold on, why can't I take my boots off? What on earth are you going on about? That wasn't the first moment. There was something else, but I think he's actually pushed that down. I think it's probably even before they got married. I don't know whether he was warned before he married her not to marry her. I'm feeling that could have been the case. I don't know who that would have been, but it's like, no, my heart doesn't lie. She is this, what he thought she was at the time. But it's like now he feels as though his heart got him into trouble, so he's going to lead with his head. And the danger for Johnny is that he just closes down his heart a little bit, which would be very tragic if he does that. Because I actually think he's got quite a big heart. He just hasn't found the right woman yet, although he was with his ex-wife for a number of years, who's still standing by him, Vanessa Paradis. It's interesting. Surnames and names, they mean a lot. If you look at Amber Heard, I will be heard, you will hear me. I wonder whether there's something in her childhood where she was never heard. I wonder what actually happened in her childhood, actually. We know what happened in Johnny's childhood because he's actually told everybody, but I don't know about her childhood. But there's something about being born with the word heard, which says to me her whole life is about you will hear me, you will hear me. So I don't, short of gagging this woman, I don't know whether she's ever really going to truly ever zip it. That may very well be because she feels she's right. I think she feels she is right. So, in that case, I guess you keep on going. But she's met her match in Johnny because he's like, well, no, but you're not telling the truth. Because his ex-wife was called Paradis, wasn't it? Paradise. So it's like he went from that energy without going into their marriage, but, the Paradis energy. And then we've now got a woman that's just like, no, I will be heard. So they feel very different energies. Certainly all the women he's been with in his life, past relationships, nobody else has got a bad word to say for him in terms of, no one else is accusing him of any violence or any abuse. It's just Amber. So, yeah. Let's, so those are the cards we've got. I'd like to pull one of these. Now, these are quite unusual cards. Somebody sent me these. Basically, they're cards and they've just got 2 words on them. But the 2 words are like polar opposites. So they belong on the same axes. Does that make sense? So it's like two words which link into energies, but they're on the same axes, so they're very dualistic. So I'm going to ask, which energy axes is Amber Heard working on at the moment? That's the way I want to phrase it. If you don't understand the question, it doesn't matter, because the cards understand what I'm trying to ask. What energy axes is Amber Heard currently operating on, please? Projection and mirror. How fascinating. I am going to project onto you, Johnny, what I don't want to see in the mirror with regards to myself. That's what that is. Projection and mirror. And again, if you think about your own relationships, sometimes we do this. We project onto other people that you are this, you are that, whereas actually it's your stuff. So that is very telling that that card has come out. That's saying that she is projecting onto him everything that she doesn't wish to see in the mirror. And on the bottom of the deck, we've got this card, which is voice and choked. So again, this goes with her name, Amber Heard. For some reason, I don't know what her past is. Maybe if this isn't this life, it has to be a past life. There's been an incarnation, whether it was before or now, where she has not been heard. She's been choked. She hasn't, I mean choked in terms of not being able to say something, not choked around the neck. Okay, it's like I can't speak my truth. So now I have my voice and I'm going to voice it and everyone's going to hear. The problem is that just voicing it without actually understanding that what you might be voicing is projection shows a very young soul, okay? It's somebody who isn't very wise in this life. Doesn't mean that she might not have been in other lives, but in this life, I'm just feeling quite a young soul. Let me just see then, what energy axes is Johnny Depp operating on, please? Just tune in. Johnny Depp, what is the energy axis that Johnny Depp is currently operating on? What energy axis is Johnny Depp currently operating on? Entitlement and gratitude. Interesting. Bottom of the deck, we have loneliness and solitude. Let me just feel into that. Entitlement and gratitude. So entitlement is ego. Strikes me as an egotistical energy. Okay, what I'm hearing is this, because look, there's a little heart in the middle. It's not a big heart, it's just a very, very little heart. What he's working on is getting to a place in his life where he's truly grateful for the people in it that genuinely love him, are there for him, want to be with him. There's a past energy here, but it's still present. Otherwise, I wouldn't have chosen it or picked it. It wouldn't have come up. Linked into, it's like the movie star. You know, it's the movie star. I keep hearing his heart ruled his head. I mean, there's another part of his body that probably it ruled as well. I'm not being crude, but that's what I'm feeling. It's like she's a younger woman, isn't she? Because Johnny's about my age. He's a bit older than me, but not that much. And she's only 36. So, you know, that's not judging people with different type of relationships, but I can't imagine being with a 36-year-old, you know, and he's older than me. So there's this thing about seeing a younger, beautiful woman and feeling as though, well, of course I'll have that, because why would I not? To have a bit of eye candy on his arm. You see, this is the unhealed part of him. It's got him into trouble. It's got him into loneliness and solitude. But loneliness and solitude go with this energy of gratitude. He's working out. He's literally working out. I mean, crikey. if this hasn't shown him who's on his side and who isn't, nothing will. But at heart, there's loneliness here. And again, you see the loneliness and the entitlement attracted in a partner who wasn't, that's not a great vibration to attract a partner, is it? If we attract the best partner we can possibly have when we're feeling very in love with ourselves, not from an egotistical perspective, but we just love ourselves. You know, we're feeling good. You know, we attract in what we are. So if you're feeling sad and lonely and isolated, that's going to attract in a certain energy. And then if there's a sense of entitlement at some level of being, again, that's not going to attract in necessarily the most beautiful person inside. Okay, so there's a bit of that going on. Right, let's just see where I want to go now. Let's look at their numerology. He was born on the 9th of June 1963. He works out as a number 7 life path, which is linked to Neptune, and that really makes me smile because, of course, one of his most famous films, actually it's one I haven't watched, but Pirates of the Caribbean, or the series of them, he's a pirate on the sea. So that links into the Neptune energy. I will just say this here because it's relevant to the Neptune energy and Pirates of the Caribbean. But one thing, again, I just find it fascinating, is that, well, it's also very sad. His mother, we'll go back to in a moment, but his mother abused him physically and psychologically and emotionally as a young boy. And one of the things, in his testimony on that is worth watching. I'll link it below. But one of the things he says about her was that if you had any sort of weakness, she would capitalise on it and use it as a weapon. So, for example, he had a problem with his eye. I think he might be legally blind in one eye, but certainly as a child he had issues with an eye and he couldn't see properly through it. And she used to make fun of that and call him cockeye or something. But that, okay, awful. But then look how he makes his name. I mean, one of the biggest films he will be known for after he passes is Captain Jack Sparrow, the pirate he must have that because all pirates have that. You know, there's something there. The little boy who's derided and belittled by his mother for being, you know, having one eye and you can't see through it and all this type of stuff, becomes Captain Jack with the, you know, I can see further than anybody. I mean, wow, there's just layers upon layers upon layers of stuff. Anyway, Johnny Depp, 7, Neptune. It shows he's got hidden depths. Hidden depths. You need to have hidden depths to be in the sarcophagus, waiting for somebody to get you out of the dark and take the lid off, thinking that everybody has actually forgotten about you. It's somebody who's very intuitive, very psychic, very clairvoyant, and it's very sad, really. Not judging it, but it is sad that he's had so much addiction in his life because the drugs and the alcohol will absolutely have weakened that intuitive link. But what I'm being shown is it's a ladder that can be repaired. I'm being shown the energy of, you know, a ladder literally off a ship, like a pirate ship. You know, they used to throw the ladder down and the person went into the sea or they had to walk off the plank. But I'm being shown this ladder on a boat and it's as though he's fallen off the boat. This is the addiction energy. He can't access the huge intuitive ability that he has, but all he's got to take is just start walking back upwards because it is repairable. It's repairable. He's quite a powerful man, actually, and if he really was able to grapple with these demons that are around him and just conquer them once and for all, I mean, he's already been successful, but you'll see the real man emerge, but out of the ashes of the old. He was born on the 9th as well, and you see number 9 is linked to the planet Mars, and Mars is a fiery planet. Mars is also a very masculine energy. So again, the thing with Mars being fiery, it's quite warlike. It can be about anger, you know, a lot of anger, but you need to channel that anger. And I think rather than channeling the anger in a constructive way in terms of, I don't know, running or taking up sport or whatever he was going to do. He's tried to quell it with the drink and the drugs. So it's all been a bit of a downhill battle from there. Amber Heard was born on the 22nd of April 1986. She comes out as a number 4. Number 4 is linked into the planet Uranus, the planet of revolution, change and disorder, disruption of the old order. So you've got Mars and Uranus sparring off against each other. That is explosive. These two were always going to be explosive. I mean, really, really, really explosive. She is a 22, or she was born on the 22nd, a number, so a master number. And you see, this is what you've got to understand about master numbers. You can be a master in this life, but be leading a life or doing something that others might look at and think, crikey, you know, that's not mastery. But actually, in many ways it is, because she, from a violet pill perspective, she is absolutely playing the role that she's meant to be playing at this time. She is meant to be bringing up what she's bringing up, and she's playing her part to perfection. So the other thing I want to say about her is when you add all her numbers up with her date of birth, it comes to 32. Oh, hold on. Have I done that wrong? I've done that wrong. I'm not gonna re-edit this video, because there's never such a thing as totally wrong. There was a reason why I brought that Uranus energy in. Maybe she's got it in her chart somewhere else. I think she's actually a 5, not a 4. Hold on, guys. Let me just work this out again. 4, 8, 9, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 34, 32. She's a 5. She's not a 4, she's a 5. She's Mercury. That makes even more sense. She's linked into Mercury. Now again, if you're a number 5, it doesn't mean you are what I'm about to say you are, okay? But number 5 it's linked into being a chameleon. Again, you don't know who this woman is. I'm actually hearing it's a bit like a shapeshifter type energy. It's like one moment she's this, then she's that. And needing constant stimulation and change of environment. The fact that they travelled the world should have been good, because that's what these type of people need. Usually they're good communicators. And but the thing about the 5 energy is it's about take off the mask and let the world see who you really are. It's backfired on her doing this trial because, well, she hasn't done it, but her past actions have led to Johnny suing for defamation because of what she wrote. Because it's like people are really being able to see who she really is now. It's like she didn't choose to take the mask off herself, but it's being exposed, and it ain't pretty. It's just not pretty. So highest scenario for her is that she learns from what this is all about, that she learns about the energy of projection and starts to own her stuff. Whether she can do that or not is a different matter. I'd like to say a little bit now, let's just go back a few steps. I'd like to talk a little bit about the cycles of abuse and how we can marry people that are linked into parts of our past we haven't come to terms with. Because if you watch Johnny's testimony of his childhood, he talks about his mother and the fact that he was, as I say, abused by her. And let me just got some notes here. Where was it? What I want to pull out about it is that he's asked in terms of his father, why did the father not leave? Why did the father put up with this woman who was toxic, certainly abusive to her children? And he says something, these are a couple of the words that he uses. He said that his father, he never saw his father lose control, and his father never fought back. His father always maintained his calm and his composure. He remained a gentleman. He was rational and he was stoic. So here you've got somebody in childhood who has a mother who's abusing him, but a father who doesn't walk away, and a father who sort of just for whatever reason puts up with it. Roll forward, 50 years, 45 years, you meet somebody and you repeat the same pattern. You repeat the same pattern. That's why he did eventually leave, but he didn't leave. Other people would have left far sooner, let's put it that way. He felt as though he could either, I'm hearing rein her in. He felt he could rein her in, get her back to the place she was when he first met her. So when we are faced with a pattern in a relationship and we can clearly see that we're actually just playing out the pattern of our parents, it's so important that we acknowledge it and that we do whatever we can to heal it. Because if we don't, what we do is we'll just keep repeating the pattern. And the danger for somebody like him is, this is where I don't think he will necessarily repeat the pattern, because I feel this trial it's almost like one big counselling session. That's not why he's doing it, and I don't mean that in a horrible way, but it's just you can't get everything out on the table like he is and discuss it and for it to be thrashed out in public and it not be a cleansing of some description. He's very aware of, I think, what he attracted in and why, and I don't think he'll do it again. So that's what he's showing us, intentionally or unintentionally. He's obviously doing it for himself. But what we can take from it is look at that. Look at your own patterns. Look at your own relationships. Are you, in essence, married to your mother or your father? What was your mother like? What was your father like? Sometimes, for example, with women, they can marry men, for example, who might be very like their fathers, very, emotionally detached or cold, or, all sorts of things, or somebody who's an addict, etc. So just pause to really think about that. Pause to think about that. Johnny actually says at one point that he realises he was in a relationship with my mother. The narcissism thing as well comes through quite strongly. But maybe that's something for another day. I would quite like to hear her testimony before saying any more on that. I will say, though, that I think there are a couple of other high-profile couples who are going to be showing us that template, let's put it that way. Some of us are very well aware of who these people are already, but it hasn't actually really been exposed yet in the public eye, but it will be at some point soon. Okay, just seeing if there's anything else I've written here. And then we're going to go back to the cards. Okay. I don't know why I've got this deck out, but I'm being told to use this deck, which is the Starseed Oracle. And I'm feeling it's more linked into Johnny's energy. So let's just do this. Let's just see what else we can get. Johnny Depp. 2 cards from this deck, please, for Johnny Depp. Big picture thinking, Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. So we've got the, in terms of galactic energy, we've got the Pleiades. I'll tune into that in a moment, linked into his heritage. I think he's a mixture of a few different energies. But anyway, let's just have a look at what else. One more card, Johnny Depp from this deck. Johnny Depp. Any other message from this deck, please? Linked into Johnny Depp. Star Brothers. That was on the bottom of the deck. And I don't know why, I just didn't take it. And it's come back out. Okay, so that's a really important card for him. Horus energy. Protection, loyalty, safety and trust. Look at that, the boy. The boy seeking What he's seeking is protection, loyalty, safety, and trust. Where should you feel safest? Who do you feel should be the most trustworthy person in your life? Who should be the most loyal to you? Should it not be your parent? Should it not be the partner that you marry? There are two, this is what's coming up for him, but again, bring it into your life. The person that should have been the most, you should have felt the most safe with, wasn't, okay? And this is what he's seeking: protection, loyalty, safety, and trust. But he's before a big gateway here. He's before a big gateway energetically. So there's a portal opening up for him here. But he is actually opening a portal for others to bring up this whole energy of, do you actually feel safe in your home? Do you feel as though you can trust your partner? Are they loyal to you? Remember, this woman also cheated on him. I don't know whether he cheated on her. I've no idea. I just need to keep balancing it the whole time. I do know she cheated on him. These are questions that we need to be asking ourselves. And then if the answer is no, 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 I don't feel safe, no, I don't feel protected, no, they're not loyal, no, I can't trust them, it's like, what the hell are you doing there? Okay? Are you going to be like his dad, who just, from what Johnny's saying, stoic, rational, maintained his calm and his composure, whilst around him this woman was like beating them black and blue? So I hope that you're starting to see what I'm trying to convey in this video, that this is about so much more than just Johnny and Amber. It's about qualities and energies that are very relevant to many other people's relationships, but people don't want to look at it. There can be another way. And this is what I really hope for him. I hope it for her as well. I hope that she can heal from whatever has gone on in her past. I'll look at her in a minute. But for him, I hope he heals. I hope that he's able to get through that big gateway and find a partner who truly loves him. Yeah, look at that. Oh, sorry. It's just the card on the bottom of the deck. Look at that. You got the love. What's that song? You got the love. You got the love. Who did that song? Hold on. People that watch me regularly know that I sometimes get this happening. I get the songs coming. You got the love. Let's see, who sang that? You got the love. Let's have a look at the lyrics to You Got the Love. I mean, Johnny Depp is a Florence and the Machine. Yeah, this is Florence and the Machine. Sometimes, let's just get the full lyrics. Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air. I know I can count on you. Sometimes I feel like saying, Lord, I just don't care, but you've got the love I need to see me through. This is what's coming in for him. He's got a love coming in. At some point in the future, he's got a love coming in. I like that because I want what's best for him. And what it will do is he will get there when he has broken codependency and he's learnt boundaries. Remember, this isn't just him, it's you. So if you're seeking the big love and you're in a relationship where it's like, God, I don't trust them and they do this and they do that, and maybe, I hope not, but maybe they're abusive. Once you've learnt boundaries, and boundaries is about saying no, it's about saying, no, I'm not putting up with that. You're not treating me like that. You know, I'm allowed to take off my own boots in my own lounge, thank you very much. Without you getting in a strop about it. You know, it's not okay for you to be throwing things at my head. It's not okay for you to be hitting me. It's not okay for you to be haranguing me. Once you've set those boundaries and you've broken the energy of codependency, You Got the Love comes in. You see, codependency is written all over this relationship as well. It's very easy to get into the blame game, that it was his fault or her fault. They were codependent of some level of being. They were attracted to each other because they needed each other. Doesn't mean it was a good need. Remember, need is just need. We can all need different things. Doesn't mean that actually they're good for us. Codependency is never particularly good for us. Those of you that have got my deck, I've got the codependency card in it with the two trees, haven't I? Here we go. This is from the Metatron deck that I made. So here Jane's painted the two trees. They're tied together. What needs to happen is they need to be allowed the space to grow independently. They're going to stunt each other together. So codependency is when you realise that I am enough on my own. 1 and 1 make 3, as I always say, in terms of a perfect relationship. I am a complete person, you are a complete person. Okay? And together we make this other energy. We're more than just the two. That's what potentially he's got coming in for him. But he can only get to that place when he questions everything, and anything that is unaligned must go, lifting the veil. That for him would also be alcohol and drugs. Okay. That's a really lovely song. I love that song, actually. Anyway, that's for him. Let's just pull a few more cards for Amber then. Oh, hold on. I just want to see this card that came up so strongly for Johnny, Star Brothers. This is the Starseed Oracle deck. Let's just have a little look at what that's all about. You see, it's saying to him that you're more protected than he can imagine. It's safe to open the back of your heart. You're being called to be open to receiving a new level of support now from those in your life and from the benevolent beings you're connected with. Through ancestral patterning, current life traumas and past life karmic impressions, many of us have become mistrustful and suspicious of loyalty and have blocks when it comes to receiving support. We've learned that we need to go at life alone, that it's not safe to let our guard down and our heart open, that the world isn't a friendly place. The Star Brothers want you to have a new experience of life on Earth. They want you to feel deeply secure and safe. They're guiding you to stay open to receiving a greater level of support. Yeah, it's what I said. It's like he needs to keep his heart open. He needs to learn how to receive, but from the right people and the right energies. You know, do away with all of this fighting in the past and welcome in a new dawn. It's very clear what his path is going forward. This is what he's meant to be working on. I'll go back to Amber, hold on, but let me just see. Can he do it? Oh, sorry, but I can't help but have a soft spot for him. You see, I said, can he do it? Okay, can he break the chains? Can he be the victor over the past, the ancestral crap, you know, the mother, the patterns of abuse, the codependency, the addictions, the shadow? Can he do it? Can you think what could be the two best cards in the pack to answer that? This is just the tarot. The Magician and the Six of Wands. That's the card of victory, and that's the card of the Magician. That's saying you have got all of the tools on the table that you need to turn this around. You've got all of the tools that you need to win. You can be victorious. But only if you choose the right cup. 7 of Cups. I felt drawn to take that one as well from the top of the deck. Okay, so if you go back to this illusionary stuff about the answers in the bottle, at the bottom of a bottle, you know, or another woman that won't be Amber, but actually it's almost like Amber Mark 2, you're not gonna succeed. But if you choose the right cup, the one that actually Spirit gives you and gives you the signs, you can do it. Remember, take that now into your life. It's not just about Johnny. Right, let's have a little look at Amber again. I wonder what deck to use for her, actually. Not feeling that one so much for her. Amber. Is there anything else to say on her? Okay, I'm being told just to pull a few more from here. Ooh, that was all. That was cold tea. This is the Insight Tarot. Let's just pull another couple of cards for Amber Heard. Anything else to say, please, Amber Heard? I don't actually know much about her. I've never seen her in a film. I don't know anything about her, actually. Only what I've heard. Again, what I've heard. She can change it around. People have heard various things about her. Her guidance is that you can change people's perceptions of you by the deeds that you do in the future. Do you want to be associated always with the woman who defecated in his bed or did this or did that? No. You can do something else. You know, she's a divine being like anybody else in this planet. She has God within her, just like everybody else in this planet. Johnny has to take responsibility for attracting in whatever happened in his relationship, in the same way she has to take responsibility for what she attracted in as well. Mirror, mirror. Let's just see what the cards want to say. What else is there to say about Amber Heard? The Star. Look, she's got the Star card again. She's also got the Five of Swords. Is that what Johnny Depp had? No, he had the Five of Wands. I need to clarify these two Star cards that have come out. Okay, what I'm hearing Spirit say is actually to have the Star card twice. Oh, okay. Two things. Two cards which are saying healing is needed. Okay. From a light worker perspective, here is a lady who needs some prayers and healing. Okay. But the other thing that I'm feeling with this is that she's just going to move on to the next person. It's like, who's the next one going to be that I'm going to pin all my hopes on? That's going to be my golden ticket. Yeah, that is a nod to Willy Wonka. Who's going to be the next person who has the golden ticket that gets me in the door to wherever I want to be next? That would be tragic for her if she does that, because she won't have learned anything. Because the lesson is the golden ticket is within inside her. It's about her healing her own ghosts, her own past, whatever's happened to her in the past. But the Five of Swords with it, it's like she's all a bit tied up and she's tied into a pattern of struggle. It's almost as though it's all she knows. I've got the card of Temperance. There's definitely a card of patience. You see, the card of Patience is also healing. 3 cards linked into healing. This lady needs a lot of light and healing. And I hope that she receives it. I hope that she receives it. Watching her, just going on my intuitive senses, I would describe her energy, I'm just tuning in again now, as being brittle. Very brittle, very much as though there's a shell. You see, they're mirroring each other. There's a shell around her as well. He's waiting to be freed from the sarcophagus. She's almost got her own thing around her, which is just like nobody's going to get... It's weird because like someone's got very close in terms of, for example, the psychologist, in terms of, well, this is who you are, Amber. But there's a side of her which is just like she's retreated further and further inside of herself. 3 cards of healing. Patience. She tests people's patience. 7 of Wands, yeah, it's just a lot of struggle. I feel like I'm not getting much from that deck for her. I just feel like there's something else that needs to come out. Let me just tune in. What shall I use to tune in? Oops, I'll just go with my Metatron spray. Let's just see if anything else I can get. I feel like there's something else. As Bella wants to be heard. I'm hearing, I know my dog's just barked, but I'm hearing her bark is worse than her bite. There's a lot of barking, literally. You know, again, it's all about this speech. Finding it harder to tune into her. And I'll tell you what's happening. It's almost like I can't breach spiritual laws. So there's a side of her where it's almost like I'm feeling she's heard what I've said about Johnny, and I know I'm right. I'm not being an ego. I know I'm right in what I'm saying here, what I'm channeling through. And it's like there's an aspect to her which is just like, no, I don't want you to say anymore. So I have to respect that, because right now she's stuck at that. And I can't get any further than that, because without healing, I can't see the future path other than just waiting for somebody else to appear to repeat the same cycle, which would be very sad for her. Okay, we'll just pull a couple of cards on the trial and then we're done for today. I'm wondering whether just to leave it here, actually. Just noticed I've been talking for over an hour and 11 minutes. 1 hour, 11 minutes, 11 seconds. Let's just ask a trial outcome. The Starman comes out. The Starman is celebrating with the Three of Cups. Somebody is onto a whole new journey. Does Johnny Depp like David Bowie? Because this deck is a David Bowie deck, and I'm feeling as though there's something here with Bowie. Johnny Depp, David Bowie. I might be wrong. I feel as though David Bowie, who I have channeled, is coming through here and saying, you are the Starman. You're the Starman, Johnny. Look at this. I didn't know this. Johnny Depp singing Heroes by David Bowie in 2018. Oh yeah, he had a band, didn't he? Hollywood Vampires. I'd love to play it to you now, but I'm not going to be able to because YouTube won't let me. So I'm going to put it underneath the description box and you can watch it. To me, that's David Bowie saying the Starman is going to be victorious and be celebrating. But I want to say, Johnny, please celebrate. I'm going to put my mum hat on here, even though he's old enough to be my... Well, no, he's not old enough to be my father. We're old enough. We're the same generation. But just, Johnny, love you, but don't do it to excess. Don't do it to excess. Because the Chariot that wants to come in needs you to be the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles... Oh, the King of Pentacles... you cannot make this stuff up. The King of Pentacles has climbed the ladder. Remember what I was saying earlier about if he can climb the ladder out of the water, he can become an even bigger version of who he is now, and it's going to be good. Look at that. The King of Pentacles is on a ladder. He's climbed the ladder. That's Johnny Depp. And he's survived the storm. He's survived the rain. He's survived the storm. Wow. 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 Blimey. The only thing I'm slightly worried about is that Three of Cups card, because there's a lot of goblets there, which could contain all sorts of things, which isn't going to help him. He's allowed his moment of celebration if he wins. But really, you know, David Bowie Heroes. Let's just leave it there. Anyway, sending love to both of them. Sending love to you if this trial is stirring various things within you and your relationships and your past patterning. Let us learn from it. Okay. Much love, everybody. Bye-bye for now. Please like the video if you have liked it, because it means that more people get to see it on YouTube. And subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed this. The next video that I'm going to be doing is the May energy reading, okay, which is going to be just a global look at where we're all at. Where we're all at. Can't speak anymore. Bye for now, guys. Bye.